I told you we're not going to let go of this free SHS matter. And our children in the schools who are not getting food to eat, not getting the right food to eat. The Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHASS, has weighed in on the debate. Reverend Father Stephen Osuseche, who's the president, spoke on Newsnight, and he said that, look, the conditions in most schools across the country is far worse than we thought. He called it pathetic. Okay, most of the essential food items are in short supply, so it's hard to feed students on campus. And so they are forced now to ration meals. They now want parents to step in and support with food items. Let's listen to him.
The situation I cannot say is totally good. Some schools have received some food items, but the problem is that the food items that they have received, if you put them together, cannot really feed the students. For example, if you have a school that has maybe maize, gari, rice, sugar without oil, cooking oil, it will be very difficult for you to cook for the students. In fact, in some schools, they have received some items, but others have not been received. We are talking about 18 food items here. In some regions in the country, the situation is not that good. I can say it's fair. We go to Upper West region, some of the items are in zero supply. For example, if we talk of soya bean, Tom Brown, maize. About 9 schools have not received maize in the Upper West region. If you go to palm oil, 15 schools in the Upper West region have not received palm oil. And then beans, the highest received in bags in the region is only 6 bags. So this is the report receiving currently from the regional CHASS chairman as I am speaking with you. If you come to Ashanti region, some of the food items that is zero supply, for example, soya bean, margarine. We have flour, but we don't have margarine. And if you want to bake bread for the students, you need the margarine, but we have not received the margarine yet. If you talk about peanut, vegetable cooking oil, and palm oil, some schools have received them, but others have not. If you talk of gari, maize, and millet, about 5% of the schools in Ashanti region have not received. So it's like you have one food item and you don't have the rest. If you go to the central region, some food items have not been received at all. But we talk about sardine, about I think only one school in the central region has received sardine. And the food item like soya bean, margarine, about only one school has received margarine in the central region. So it is like that. I cannot really tell parents to come and feed their own students in the schools because that is not the policy now. For us heads, what we do is just implement what has been given to us to implement by our directors. So if you're a parent and you come, and then, for example, parents come together and then they say, oh, we want to donate this to the school, I'll receive them and feed the students with them. But I will not say that parents will come and pay fees for me to feed the students anyway. But if parents are ready, because we have been told that parents could meet on their own, and then they will think about what the school needs. If they come and ask me and I need them and they bring them, I receive them and use them for the students. Why not? But it is not like you could call parents in to come and pay fees. That one is not part of the policy.
Yeah, that's what CHASS is saying. That's actually a lot worse than what we gleaned from talking to the headmaster and the teacher. Because it actually matters which products are short. You could send them a bunch of other things, but if you don't send oil, for example, then they can't even do anything with what you sent them.
Like you send flour and no margarine.
Yeah.
So, when schools reopened, and I want to start from as far back as, on the 8th, 7th of January, when schools reopened, I have communications on one of the CHASS platforms. I won't mention the names of the school, for obvious reasons. So this one says, food situation in our schools. Good afternoon, colleagues. The regional director wants to know the food situation in our schools and communicate same to Director General at 1:30 p.m. please indicate on this platform right now the items received in your schools so that we can compile it for the director. Thanks so much. The first person comes in and says, we haven't received any food yet. Second person, we haven't received any food yet. Third, we haven't received any food yet. Fourth, no food item. Then you go to, the fifth, no food item. Sixth, no food item. The seventh says, we have received 10 bags of beans. Listen to this carefully, 10 bags of beans. And I'll tell you when I finish with this, for instance, what amount of beans is expected to be used in feeding which number of students. The next one says, we have received 8 bags of beans. The next says, we have received no items. And this one says, I've been waiting by my weighing scale since morning. No supplies yet. Then one school says, we received 7 bags of beans. Another, no food items, no food items, no food items, no food items. And then another one comes in and says, we've received 4 bags of gari and 6 bags of beans. The rest say they received nothing.
This was
Okay.
when schools reopened.
Reopened. That's just to make a point. Then let's get to, for instance, now the schools are reopened and what they want done when it comes to feeding of students. So there's actually a whole, document on what you need to feed students. So for instance, when it comes to maize, for making bangkung and kinki, you'd have to use 100 kilograms of maize for 650 students. These are, the directives given to the headmasters to be passed on to their domestic bearers. When it comes to rice for jollof, 50 kg to 300 students. For rice porridge, 50 kg to 1,000 students. Now, listen to this carefully. When it comes to beans, for instance, for beans and gari, you're looking at 100 kg to 1,000 students. So if these students do not have to say, if the school has, say, 4 bags and there are 1,000 students, they can only cook for 4 times. And that's the end of it. If they do not receive any other supplies, what that means is that they cannot prepare beans for them again. So they would only use what they have. But you see, the moment you know this and you send it to the schools and you know what the schools have received, you can always know when they would run out because you know the population of every school.
Right.
This is the essence of planning. You know the population of every school. You know how many boarders are in there. You've even said these students should be given 1 meal a day, lunch. So you know the total population of the school. And you know, for instance, when I was in secondary school, I knew that, on Mondays in the afternoon, I was going to be eating beans. On Tuesdays in the afternoon, I was going to be eating kinky and pepper. On Wednesdays, you're going to be eating rice and beans. You knew these things. And so you would know, for instance, what is expected to be used. So if you know what is expected to be used, why would you supply something that you know would run out in, say, 2 weeks and pretend that they have enough food? Because the supplies that you're providing to the schools, for instance, you must ask yourself the simple question, how long can it last? And when do I intend to supply the school again? You just don't go and dump food on the school, hear them say 10 bags of beans, and you pretend all is all right. And listen to the listen to the president of CHASS. If parents bring food to them, they will cook for the children.
Yeah.
And this is something that should send a strong signal to government. I've been speaking with Kwame Sowu, and he makes an interesting point. He's actually talking about the fact that, look, today old students should actually take it even upon themselves, since it's become obvious that, look, students are suffering. I was in Mali school on the 10th of December or so, or the 11th of December, and the students had Tom Brown without sugar and bread. This is not, I was there. And when the students complained, I was shocked. And when we found out from the officials, they said, well, that's what they have. They do not have sugar. They don't have flour for bread. The only thing they can do is to give them the Tom Brown just like that.
So you see, the thing that is running through my head right now is I doubt there is a parent anywhere who doesn't want their child to eat well. So the fact that parents are unable to come together and simply provide food items for their, for the schools where their wards are, suggests that there is something in the system resisting such a thing. You remember that now we no longer have PTA. We only have PA. Just in order for free SHS to look good, parents and teachers have been asked to disassociate themselves from each other. So parents who even want to do things for their children in the schools, or old students, as Kwame Sewu suggests, and I think that's a brilliant suggestion. Old students who want to do things, even they are finding impediments in their way when they want to do things for their own children in the schools where they've placed them. Okay, so if I want to come together with other parents to provide food for my ward at, say, Presec, like how you have, 2 wards in Presec, the headmaster is worried that if he allows that to happen, somebody in the system is going to accuse him of making the thing look bad, making the free SHS look bad. Because that is the original reason why they said PTA should not even exist anymore. Right? They don't want anyone to suggest that someone supported them in feeding the children. They want it to seem as if government did it all. And they are willing to watch your child starve just so that they can look good. So, I mean, as a parent, how much of that can you take?
Yeah.
How much of that are you willing to take? That your child should starve just so that the government looks like they have succeeded.
This is we're in a period where we say burden sharing, right? We all know that the whole idea about the free senior high school and all the free things that come with it is good, even though a lot of people felt it could have been implemented in different ways. But we are here. So if we're talking about burden sharing, I think simply what parents and old students are saying to those running the system is that let us also share in the burden. We're willing to support. Don't punish any head for allowing a parent or some old student to supply them food, because simply the truth is, even though they are distributing food, it is not enough. We've heard from the CHASS presidents that sometimes the items are not even complete. So you have maize, and maize alone cannot prepare you the kinky, or can't do the banku. So you need, there is an issue, and I think we've all identified what the issue is. The solution is not only in the hands of government. The buffer stock simply isn't doing it, and so they have to be open to get support from other places.
And you see, let me end on this note. The whole essence of using the buffer stock is to ensure availability of food, is to actually take away the human element from the schools. So you don't want to say, the assumption is that domestic bursars and headmasters may embezzle funds. Well, when we were in school, they did not embezzle our funds. Even if they did, at no point in time did we lack food.
Precisely.
So you can check that. Today, some of the headmasters would tell you that they bring us, documents to sign. Sometimes they bring you food only for you to go and check and realize that they are not even, the food is not up to, the kg that is, put on it. So they give you a 50 kg sack. You go and check it, and when it comes, they're in a hurry. Oh, let's do it. Then you sign off. You go and only go and weigh it and realize that it's like 43. It's like 40. But the other critical question is, who are the suppliers to these schools? Yes, buffer stock has also subletted or outsourced it to other people, but who are these suppliers? What are their positions in this country? What are their party affiliations? And so if you give a job to a party member, for that party member, he thinks that he actually did the job years ago. We cannot continue like this. And look, yes, we envisaged the free SHS that was going to help the country. It has played its role. I think it's time we reviewed free SHS. It's obvious we cannot feed students in the boarding house. Let's get them to contribute.
Hey, so for the sake of Tunu, my child should starve. No, unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. And I mean, there are very few things in this country on which people will put their foot down, stamp their foot, and say, "You shall not pass. This shall continue no more." I think you starving my child should definitely be one of them.